Hi everybody. Today I wanted to get on and do a video about a project that I'm working on. This is a bag that I got when I lived in New Mexico, and I'm sure if you guys watched any of my other videos, you know that I was born and raised in Maine, but I lived in New Mexico for 9 years, and I've been back from New Mexico, living back in Maine for 9 years. So anyway, this bag is a bag that I got when I lived in New Mexico, and it's no great shakes. I mean, it's just a cheap bag. It's a burlap with these cute little wooden handles. It's no great shakes, but I really love it, and it's like my last little thing that I have from New Mexico, and I really would like to keep it. However, if you can see inside there, the liner inside is ripped, and I really don't want to use it with the liner ripped like that. So I'm going to turn it inside out and show you what I mean. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can fix this bag and make it usable once again, so I can continue to use it and keep it. So this is a little project I thought I might tackle. So I've been looking it over and trying to decide what to do. I can actually, I could sew and actually sew a complete liner to go inside of it, which, I'm no great sewer, but I could do it. I'm sure with some help I could do that. But anyway, as you can see, it's ripped. The liner in it is quite ripped. So what I thought I might do, I have this cloth, this material from another project. I have a bit of it put away, and I thought that I would use this as a liner. So my original my original thought was that I would make a liner, an absolute full liner, bottom, sides, long sides, short sides, the whole thing. But when I turned it inside out and I got looking at it, really the sides and the bottom are not ripped. The liner is only ripped on the two big panels on each side. So I think what I'm going to do is cut this material to just fit just around here. And I think the way that I'm going to attach it is, I think I'm going to glue it. I think I'm going to use E6000, and I also think, and I was originally thinking about cutting out the liner, and throwing it away. But it's all still there, it's just torn, and I think if I leave it, that might be a little bit more reinforcement for it. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave it. So for my project, this project, I'm going to cut out the panel to fit on here and on the other side, and I am going to glue it. Now, the reason why I'm gluing rather than sewing is that this bag, it's a very thick weave bag. I don't know if you can see, but I think it's burlap. But it's a really thick weave, and I know whoever made it did sew it, but wow, those seams are really big and bulky, and I don't think it would be great for my sewing machine if I sewed it. So even if I were gonna sew a complete liner, I would still glue it. I'd still just glue it because these seams are gonna be impossible to go around. So I think the trick is gonna be, I don't know if you can see it, I think the trick is going to be in this area right here. Trying to get around in that area might be tricky. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. So I thought I'd tune in and let you guys see how it comes out. So let's keep our fingers crossed, and I will show you the progress. Okay, so I've now got the cloth cut that I'm going to be gluing on here, and I've cut 2 squares that are going to just fit the size of the area that I want to cover. And these just happen to be stitched on 2 sides. 2 sides are stitched, and these 2 I've just ironed, and I'm going to stitch them up. But what I'm going to do is, up here is going to be the kind of the problem area. So I've decided that so that I can get this cut properly, I think I'm going to cut a pattern out of like a craft wrapping paper or something. Cut a pattern out so that I can make sure this is cut properly and will fit just exactly in that area. So that's the thing that I'm going to do next. Okay, so the next step in the process was I made a template out of craft paper and I taped it on here. I basically put the craft paper on the bag around this part of the handle, and I traced where I want the seam to be. Whoops, I want it to be like down here. And so I traced it on the paper, cut the paper out, and I traced around where I want the actual seam to be, but I moved in a ½ inch and traced all around ½ inch in so that it gives me a little bit of a seam allowance, because I want to cut it and then I want to sew it to make a seam allowance for it. So there's actually a seam. I think it's going to make it more rugged if I make a seam around here. And I cannot find my E6000 glue, so I'm going to have to use this Aleene's tacky glue. Hopefully that works. I have tested it on a little piece of scrap paper to see if it's going to hold, and I'll wait a little while till that dries and see if it will hold. But anyway, this is one side all cut and ready to go. I've cut it out. There's my ½ inch seam allowance. So that one's done, and now I'm just going to cut this one out. So I measured in, I'm going to cut on the ½ inch part of it. It's a little bit tricky getting around the corners here, so when I sew, I'm going to have to be very diligent. I'm not if you watch my channel at all, you know that I am not a sewer. So this project is kind of a new thing for me. And I think corners are kind of tricky for me. So I'll just go very slowly when I take my sewing machine out and sew that seam. And I think I'll have to snip as I go around, because that's usually what you have to do on corners. There. Okay. Okay, so there are my two side panels all cut and ready to go. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip these edges and I'm going to fold them in and make a seam. So I want these edges here have seams already. This edge right around here and right around the bottom, and then I've got to make a seam here, up here, all around the handle part, and up here. And I do think I'm doing that because I think that it's gonna be more rugged if I have an actual seam where I glue. I want to glue around the edges, and it's going to definitely be more rugged if I actually have a seam there. So anyway, that's my next step. Okay guys, so this next step is complete. I have sewn around all the seams and sewn a seam around here and around the edges that didn't have a seam, and they came out pretty good. I'm kind of pleased with it. So the next step is going to be that I glue it onto the bag. So this is what's going to happen right here. And like I said in the last little step, I cannot find my E6000 glue anywhere. And I really, really wanted it. But I tried this Aleene's tacky glue. I tried it on a little sample of it, and it seemed to work pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead with that. So anyway, that's the next step. What I've done is I have a picture here that it was a pretty good size, and I wanted to make this taut while I glued on it. So I put the picture inside to keep this taut while I glue. So there, that's the next step, and I will pop on when it's all done, guys. Okay guys, I just wanted to show you that I glued one side of the bag down, and I wanted to weight it down and let it dry before I tried the other side. So I've got this big trunk sitting on top of it so that it can dry completely before I do the other side. So anyway, that's where I'm at with the gluing process. I just wanted to show you guys what I had done, okay? Hi everybody. Okay, so it's the next day and I have finished the bag. The bag is all done. Let's see if I can get this in the camera for you. I hope you can see inside. I'm really quite happy with how it came out. See that? I was quite concerned with how it was going to come out around the handle part. I didn't know how that was going to come out, but you know, it came out pretty good. I had a good idea to stitch around so that it had a little bit more security around the handle part. There is a couple spots on the top here that I just want to put a little bit more glue in and make sure that's a little secure, but there you go, it's all done. I'm pretty happy I get to save my New Mexico bag. And you know what, it might not last all that much longer, but at least I got a little bit more time out of it. So I'm really happy with how that came out. I gotta tell you guys, this was a challenging project. It was kind of fun, but it was more challenging than fun, I have to tell you. If you guys know and have been following me, you know that this YouTube channel is new and that I don't usually do these crafty things like this, but I love them and I've always wanted to do them, and that's why I started a YouTube channel. So with that being said, this was challenging, but I met the challenge and it's beautiful and I'm really, really happy with how it came out. I love to take this bag to like the farmer's market, and I gotta tell you, everywhere I go with it, I always get compliments on it. Oh, I love your bag. So I'm really, really happy that I have that bag to use. I've got a couple other projects that coming up and they're gonna be challenging too, I'm sure. But you know, I'm challenging myself and that's okay. I wanted that when I started this channel. So something that could have taken an experienced crafter 5 minutes took me a good part of the day, but that included drying of the glue. One of the most upsetting parts of it was that I could not find my E6000, and I'm really upset about that because it was a brand new tube, so it was expensive. And I want to use that E6000 to fix my dining room chairs. And now I don't know what I'm going to do to fix my chairs. I turned this place upside down to look for it, but I couldn't find it. So anyway, the Aleene's or Aleene's, however you pronounce that, that worked. That seemed to work pretty well. It seems to be stuck down pretty well. We'll see. Time will tell of how it's going to stay. And you know what? If it doesn't stay, I'll just throw the bag away. But I'm glad that I got a chance to save it for a little bit more time, and I get to use it a little bit more. So anyway, you guys, if you enjoyed this tutorial, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below and let me know what you guys think of this bag. If you've ever done anything like this, how did it last? You know, how did it come out and all that? I'd love to hear your comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And like I said, comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Okay, thank you so much. I hope you all have a great day.